Notice the fatigue of my spinner beanie. Notice also that my hearing aids aren't really cooperating. It's humid. I'm getting ready to go play pinball. It's Sunday. One of the burgermeisters of the Oakland scene, which is in Pittsburgh, it's a crowd of artists who work their way through college and make their reputation by showing up at dances. Said to me when I got home from Mount Desert Island, I don't want to hear any more about what happened you in childhood because you're going to make it into a whole big thing. Now, I don't know if he knew that John Stockwell had followed me to Allentown on my birthday on the Wall Street crash, but he certainly knew of 1987. But he certainly knew that Peter Gabriel was writing to me because I was using my correspondence with Peter Gabriel to protect me from bands like Car Sickness and people like John Schulman. I eventually had to break from Peter Gabriel because the Jackson Lab fires, the Exxon Valdez, gives you an idea of how I was making it into a whole big thing. It wasn't really me, in other words. I mean, I normally would trust my audience to put that together, but you have no idea how berzoid the Zappa mind is. So, the fact that I don't wholeheartedly support Israel's wiping Hamas and the Palestinians off the face of the earth over an invasion from Mad Max on bicycles to Israel is a godsend for Michael Reagan's derision towards my views about a girl who was framed in Ohio. I say framed because the hybrid signals are all over the case. What's more, it was an inside job of Jericho. She's going to be petitioned to cooperate in assuming me wrong and endangering her defense by arrogant politics, I believe is the word they've settled on. Never mind that it wasn't me who sent in an expert in hallucinogens to control her for the show. I did not car bomb her. I'm trying to protect her from the people who did. Admittedly, I was a little cross when I first addressed Judge Rossa, but the hope that she will read Shaviti, I'm sure that she will forgive me when she reads Shaviti. She will forgive all of it when she reads Shaviti. My sympathies are at root with the Jewish people. But I'm not in sympathy with Holocaustal nerve agents being used on children. No. Now, it's a laugh to say it's a laugh to say that I put things into a whole big thing. The truth is, I'm not interested in the big picture. I am a Pittsburgh public school advocate. I have investigated and am sure that Pink Floyd and the Neva corporations want to destroy my father's good legacy as a curriculum builder of the public schools. No matter what they say, they are not interested in world peace. No matter what they say, they are not interested in ecology. They certainly are not interested in eco schools. What they are interested in is self-aggrandizement and control by the celebrity superstate. That's all. And when I see Mackenzie Shirella, I see a peer. I may be an old man, I may be heartbroken from her rejection and people like her, but I'm a peer. I see it as a betrayal of the Ohio Public School protection of its children for her to be so disgracefully abandoned by the schools, by her peers, by the courts, and by her defense attorney. Her mother did not abandon her. I certainly will not. I believe that there are peers who know her better than me, who love her more than me, who are standing by her. I believe that sincerely. I'm not putting myself forward as anything other than a witness to what I believe really happened. It's not a whole big thing. It's a defense across the hall in the Board of Education. Can you get that through your head? Now they're going to run to a little covenant in the room behind a revolving bookcase where Vince Irene meets with President Moravian of CMU and constructs a whole big thing. Jimmy wanted a virgin, so we took a girl with tattoos of the Grim Reaper and needle tracks to suck it out of him, and now we want to use the porno that we made of him as a child to raise money for the AIDS victims. There's her whole big thing. And they have the Super Haunted Collective of Spike Oldley and Yoko Ono. Yoko Ono really was involved in all of this. She's the one who controls the TikTok feedback mechanism. I bet they make a whole big thing about super haunted cultural connectivity, and Robert Kennedy is going to advocate for super haunted cultural collectivity. And they accuse me of a whole big thing. I'm not in this for a whole big thing. I would be honored to help Mackenzie Shirilla because she is a peer in public schools. And I assert as witness against all the foolishness that comes from Seattle, Washington, because they're fools. The ones that are not miserable, evil predators are fools. That I wrote to the Medium asking them to inquire what had happened to Algebra Sean. The only time I have ever encountered somebody who I believe was under the neurohypnotic spells of this crowd. But he wasn't sentenced to 2 years in life imprisonment that I knew of. And I never got any feedback from these brilliants with their spinner beanies. Whoa, look at them go. Cornel West, he ran to the phone. We must know Algebra Sean. Is he okay? Get back to Queerball because he has the defense of anything that he's done wrong because he saw neurohypnotics being used on him. I wasn't offering a carte blanche to Algebra Sean. And I'm not offering a carte blanche to Mackenzie Shirilla. I am stating my concern for proven fact of neurohypnotics being deployed by the University of Pittsburgh, about which they bragged on the front page of their newspaper. This is not a whole big thing. They saw me through the lens of Miles Kirshner and Mark Nordenberg as being too uppity because my father was chair of philosophy of education, had a window seat that could see into Forbes Field. He even saw the ball travel out of left field on October 13th, 1960. Mavs World Series, bottom of the ninth of the seventh game. A week before I was born. That's too good. They had all of these people braying. Oh, he knew George Bush. He knew Eisenhower. He's just a queewee. We all beat him up. We dragged him through glass. Talking to Putin about me and then saying, oh, he thinks it's a whole big thing. I'm not the one who thinks it's a whole big thing. Yes, I wrote to Michelle Kwan when the celebrity superstate pre-detonation of the neuroplasm, when neurohypnosis was at worst. I said, I think your cultural idiom is gold. I would marry you. And they said, this is what Queerball. We'll tell Kamina Valieva that he likes Japanese figure skaters and more than her. I don't. They made me part of the celebrity superstate. while denying it. And they cast people like me, like Anna Politkovskaya, in the role of the anti-Bowie in The Last Temptation of the Weasel. Oh, everybody wants to see you die. Oh, and Ringo Starr comes and starts poisoning people, stabbing girls to death in Seattle. That's what, it's cultural connectivity, man. Cultural connectivity over what they said is a penny. I wrote Barista Gate about it. I said, and they killed, they nearly killed Mackenzie Shirilla, but they killed Silsey Kennedy. And they made no secret of its connectivity to me. When I wrote to Courtney, they delivered the letter with a freak accent in the canoe. Freak accent. How's a canoe freaking flip that way? And you expect me not to notice that? When one of my peers gets overly, heavily poisoned. Mackenzie doesn't understand what was done to her. Judge Shirilla doesn't understand what was done to her. The closest thing I've ever seen to capturing it is what I wrote when I was 14, to the perpetrator, not realizing it was the perpetrator and having never sent it. I went into vomiting spells when I opened that letter just trying to read it. You can see what it did to me now. I have asked the courts of Ohio to at least read about Shaviti. Because Wanamaker, Schulman, James W. Child, and even Adam Eisenstadt, a ghostwriter for Donald Trump, all were connected to the group who manufactured that nerve agent that poisoned me. So the issue of what's going on anywhere in the world, Ukraine, Bangladesh, India, is not relevant to what I know was done to me and what I witnessed. And Will Zell said what I claim he said. I remember not only hearing it, but he confirmed it, and I remember a witness in a Poconos cafe. That's a very serious matter. And yet, Will Zell was connected to Peter Gabriel somehow. They were claiming that he was a Jewish defense leader protecting Leslie Katz, a Jewish valedictorian virgin who Robert Fripp liked. And Ito got on the phone with Putin and Oliver Stone, who was talking to Cyril Wecht, who was the neighbor where she had a valedictorian party, graduation party. And I'm constructing a whole big thing? I'm not constructing a whole big thing. I'm coming to the defense of a fellow public school student. How hard is that to understand? It's confusing, I admit that, but it's not word salad, it's not psychobabble. When I go back and read the letter that I wrote to Judge Rosso, I can see how it would trigger alarms and cause somebody to blink on and off. But I'm not ashamed of a single word. Knowing what I know, having read Shaviti, when I read that letter, I reflect on its truth, not its confusing facts. I admire that Strongville has taken a concern with what I have to say about Mackenzie Shirilla. I was not invited to give an impact statement at her court. But my message is that there were 3 victims. And if those families of the other victims could suspend disbelief long enough to read what really happened, I believe they would want to come to Mackenzie's defense as I do. It's a God-forsaken thing that was done to her. I'm sorry for your loss.